Hello and welcome. This is going to be an all signs reading. We're going to try to go through pretty quickly. This is the Starcodes deck, and I have separated out just the signs of the zodiac, and we're going to go out of order. So let's see who's on the bottom here. We have Gemini, cross pollinate. So seeking for information, and you can take all of these signs in your own situations and apply them to different things and just listen to the messages that come out. All right, Gemini. In this situation, Gemini is the sign of the siblings. No wonder we're talking about this. And early childhood. So toxic friend or family member comes out to head up your reading. And underneath here, we have number 1, root chakra showing up. And I'm seeing here, this one pops out a little bit. How beautiful it is for you to remain silent when another anticipates your rage. Young female may have some bearing in this situation, but yes, root is the family of origin, our origin story, the way that we're able to connect and bond to our experience and to the world itself. And perhaps you were the young female, or a friend or family member is being talked about. Let's see. 19, the sun, vitality. That is an interesting card for me. It represents a motherly influence, vitality, and joy. The ability to stay light. And I'm noticing too, we have hummingbird, which is nectar, and we have the bees gathering nectar here. So there's a way that you are either accomplishing this, or you're being asked to consider how you gain insight and nourishment from your early experiences, and how you are then cross-pollinating, taking into consideration how other family dynamics and other friendship dynamics operate, and how you can then integrate and incorporate those strategies to make a healthier life for yourself. And maybe somebody's trying to get you upset here because you're not taking the bait. Perhaps with the young female, you're just keeping it simple. Perhaps with a Scorpio who's got a lot to say with Mercury, but you're in a mode of self-care, or maybe they're telling you that you need to take different, better care of yourself to their standards. There's alchemy at play. This is diamond code activation, transmutation of previous experiences, releasing what doesn't serve, transforming situations to be better and healthier for yourself, dealing with stress, the way that has predisposed you to certain responses, trauma, and how we cope with things, or numb out, or become accountable and rise above toxicity. The inner jewel within you is shining through, and perhaps that's what's triggering somebody that wants to bring you back down to where you used to be, perhaps smaller, meeker, easier to manipulate or control. So Gemini's not buying it. So it says also alchemy, Gaia, elementals within the earth. The pressure and stress of circumstances has allowed you to gather momentum from the earth itself, from the collective, from the way it should be or could be, because Mercury is the sign of the Gemini also. So somebody has a lot to say, but you already know what basically is generally coming out of this individual's mouth, I want to say. And let's get you a couple cards. We're going to try to keep these quick. Queen of Shells, peace and compassion. Another motherly type individual I'm sensing with the seal energy. I kind of feel, Gemini, that this is or is that I want to say tiger seal, which aren't they more aggressive, or is that like a sea lion? Sea lions are pretty aggressive. It's like, maybe we had Scorpio here too. It doesn't necessarily need to be you, but maybe there's a very similar appearance, like one between siblings. There's a lot of physical similarities, but the way that the energy is expressed is much different. I'm sensing, this says peace and compassion. I'm sensing that you are in your uh, accountability with your emotions and mastering the flow, the ebb and flow of your healing cycle. You're not taking the bait because your peace has been hard earned and it's not worth it. Ace of Acorns, creative force and confidence. Look at that Aryan Ram there. You could also be dealing with somebody with Ram, Aries energy, but it's also your ability to be a creative force and to be more confident and to be stubborn in certain situations. Gemini is also a mutable sign where it's very impressionable by whatever shows up in the mirror. The Gemini is always reflecting, and in that way possibly always the sounding board and the scapegoat in some situation here. And your confidence is not where it was when those situations were at play. Yeah, your happiness has come hard earned. Eight of Acorns, energy and results. The energy that you put into something is coming back out in new ways. And it's it's an interesting depiction here. So acorns are like wands, and eight of acorns then is like the card of diligence and focusing on the details of something at hand. But in this card, it appears to be some type of like an eel. And it to me looks a little bit creepy or slippery, and I just get the ooze when I look at it. And I mean, something that's coming up in my head is maybe somebody's telling you, you know, you've got to get a real job, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. And there are these very conforming ideals that somebody's projecting onto you, and where at one time the family's demands made a bigger difference, and you would perhaps absorb or reflect and yes sir, yes ma'am. But now you're kind of able to navigate through those waters, those toxic waters, with without being caught in their grasp. You're being more slippery, and I don't mean manipulative and that there's something bad about that. I mean that um, through the creative force of your delight and humor and vitality and joy, you're not taking the bait for that, but you're shifting and changing and saying, it's like, I'm not falling for that one. Oh, well, isn't that nice? Some type of rebuttal that doesn't allow them to feel that they've won something over you, although it's not about that. 10 of Crystals, stability and attainment with this crocodile. And it reminds me, this is Year of the Dragon, and it's very reptilian dragon energy of protecting what's ours. It's like we may not still act like we've got this toxicity, and although it does sometimes want to jump back out, we've been able to transmute toxicity and conflict energy into self-preservation and self-respect and creation of our own stability through the correct management of our own resources. So we're protecting our home. If somebody comes knocking on the door, or I mean, this guy's on the edge of the pool. Yeah, 10 of Crystals is 10 of Pentacles. It's all about success, family legacy. Maybe somebody's being asked to walk in someone's footsteps when they've already got a great thing going on over here, using their creative force and their confidence, putting in energy to get the results, creating peace and happiness and joy for themselves. And someone is overlooking that because of their own personal needs in the situation, it looks like. So if we had any advice and guidance here, I wonder, we're going to get one out of here. And for you, let's get you one out of here. So first out of the Art of War deck, since it seems like somebody wants to get your goat. I keep hearing get your goat. You have goats? Are you the goat, the greatest of all time? Communicate effectively. It's very easy to think that someone understands what you're trying to say just because you do. And in all interactions, in person, on the phone, text, or email, ensure that what you're saying is clear, distinct, and understood. Give examples, think clearly about your words, and ask them what they think you have said to avoid errors in communication. So, Patrick Tehan, I think it's licensed social worker, LSW or something. He's on YouTube. He talks a lot about and does some role play between toxic family member groups or group members. You get what I'm saying? That might be something that can help you to frame and to learn those ways of reflecting, responding, and setting proper boundaries in your circumstance. The backside here says Sun Tzu said, thus, one who is skillful at keeping the enemy on the move. What? There's a word missing in this. Thus, one who is skillful at keeping the enemy on the move mountains, deceitful appearances. What? Talk about not understanding this card. I've never seen such bad typo. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. I mean, there's definitely a misunderstanding of the circumstance. Deceitful appearances, according to which the enemy will act. Oh my gosh, it's not mountains, it's my fault. Thus, one who is skillful at keeping the enemy on the move maintains deceitful appearances. Deceitful appearances. According to which the enemy will act. They act according to the surface. He sacrifices something that the enemy may snatch at it. Interesting. So yeah, when somebody comes at you, there's this clever distraction, and I'm seeing like the Tai Chi or is it Judo or whatever, where they displace the energy and momentum of their opponent by saying, oh, in a red flag event, red flag unanswered prayer came out in the in my first faulty recording. False start. So yeah. Old souls, oh, that's too many. To be beautiful in the eyes of another, simply forget they're watching. Old souls use words very sparingly, except for, of course, I, love, thank, you, wow, now, and cool. And this is a different one. It's about inflection, and I can't quite master it. Wow, I love you now. The universe. P.S., which sounds much better than wow, now I love you. Like demanding that somebody change to love them. Perhaps that's been a conditional love response. Earlier disappointments were just rehearsal for the great stuff coming your way. Love is the reason. So take that and let's switch. The next on the deck looks like Aries. Let's clear out some of this energy here. Aries. You are the card of the new beginnings, courage. You were already here, courage and the creative force. All right, we'll take those two for you while they're popped out. Three of Feathers, release and recovery under the deck. It's quite the stretch. Knight of Crystals, endurance and determination with the camel. Did I show that? And then we have 10 of Feathers. It is showing itself in reverse, but I don't typically read reversals. We'll see if it becomes an issue. Any card has the pros and cons, and they can come out whether we put them upside down or not. Endurance and determination, recovery and transformation. You've been through something. Release and recovery. So, okay, Aries, what's been troubling you? Something very long, a way of being. You've been through the desert emotionally, but it's time to act. I wanted you to chase me. Oh, seriously. Here's Goat, greatest of all time, highly protected and favored by the divine. 3333. That's creativity, empress-like energy, self-mastery, and the inner child. We'll take those. I like lots of attention and action. Fire sign showing up at the bottom of the deck here with extrovert, 4444, and Uranus, joy. So are you the extrovert that likes lots of attention? Because that would be very Aryan trait. You're very protected. Yeah, 4444 is divine spiritual protection, but Uranus is a changing, shifting circumstance. So you're getting joy from the action and attention, but you've been in a period here of I wanted to say aloofness, separation, the desert. Maybe you've been dealing with some circumstances of grief or something else. Let's look at this vice versa deck. I'm seeing the Three of Swords get left behind. Perhaps it is a circumstance with grief or loss. A person doesn't need to die physically in order for us to feel change or loss in that way. So behind, all right. Waiting for that other shoe to drop. Behind the shield here, there's a blooming flower that he doesn't necessarily see. Sometimes I'm not sure which is the front and which is the back. But either way, there's been a challenging circumstance here. On the deck, I did pre-shuffle. I do have the Virgo card of the Hermit and the card of the Empress, the back side of the Empress. So front side of Hermit, yeah, you have been in a period of solitude, reflection, trying to heal from something that's been very challenging. Maybe your inner child wanted an individual to chase you, but that wasn't the circumstance that was in your best interest. It was related to needs of the inner child, wounded inner child here. And in that rejection, you've been divinely protected. You had to go through whatever this transformation that's currently underway in order for you to be able to act more authentically. There was something being shaken loose here by this time of being by yourself. And I'm sensing that the urge for a relationship with this chase me card, like maybe you took this dry spell away from a partner or broke up with a friend or family member, in wanting them to miss you. And, you know, maybe they do miss you, but maybe they're not going to chase you. And maybe that's the lesson for you, is that if they had chased you, it would have verified and validated the misunderstanding that's going on in your makeup that has created this sadness here. But in that you went on this journey solo without them, this protection is allowing the incubation period for your greater strength, your greater self-reliance and determination. And the backside of the Empress, this may be the person you've walked away from, or this may be an aspect of yourself just in this reflective phase. But yeah, and there's a skull behind there, some type of either death or transformation here. Maybe you feel that someone is distracted by their grief cycle and not being available for you. But I'm sure that there's more to the story, but it's a good time to act now. We've got a couple cards here on the split. Let's flip this one for our perspective. Okay, so we're splitting that to the resurrection side of the death card, 13. Maybe it's time to visit a loved one's burial site, or to say some prayers. I'm seeing these people in this prayerful, reverent position, but the individual behind is shown naked and in this awkward pose of stretching and release. There's something being reborn, and I feel like it's the spark, the inner spark that you have. And then over here we have, that is the back side of the star card. So perhaps you're not, well, no, I don't even want to say that. I think that you have been able, in this resurrection of self, the grief and transformation phase that's going on here. And we've also got the Ten of Swords. Maybe it's the old self that's being laid to rest. I see that as his armor that he's taken off and just stabbed to death. And there's this eclipsed sun. It's like the old identity has been eclipsed, and now there's all of these chinks in the armor. Is that what you call them? Where the swords have been stabbed into these spots that were like, oh, well, I see where I went wrong here, or I see what was wrong with this thinking here. And we can become overwhelmed. But when the sun begins to rise again, then we can understand that we're shedding the skin. We're shedding this old armor. Is that a Tool song? Soften this old armor. Oh my God, that's one of my favorite songs. So yeah, a transformation phase. And what I wanted to say with this one, but became interrupting myself here, is that you may be connecting with people, guides, energies on the other side of the veil. I'm seeing this as either rain or like meteor shower, but then it's evolving, and in the moment I'm kind of seeing it too as the passage of time, like one of those slow exposure films, like when people get the cosmos as their as the backdrop is turning, taking multiple shots that blend together and then appears as though the movement is there. Does that make sense? So there's also a rose behind her. There's something blooming. Rose, the name Rose may be familiar. An ancestor, a loved one. Maybe a loved one named after an ancestor. They're standing nearby. The namesake is important. Maybe your name is a similar name to someone in your family. There's some type of legacy here. And I feel that we can get one of these love notes for you. I'm seeing this. Everyone is just out there doing their best. They're not trying to ignore you. There are really only two types of people, those you love now and those you will. Until then, there's only one type of person, and then we'll probably hit replay. The game of life, the universe. Each person in your life is there for a reason, and that reason has something to do with love, like me, the universe. Love is the reason. Some are better loved at a distance, for a while anyways, and that's okay. Besides, love doesn't really know the difference. Song lyrics, there's oceans in between us, but that's not very far. Is that puddle of mud? Blurry. So there's something here too at maybe there was a challenging circumstance or connection with the individual that's in spirit for some of you. And that may add an additional caveat of lost opportunity or fleetingness of time. But trust that this situation is part of your healing and also part of your success story in time. Turn on your love light. I heart you. So yeah, turn on your love light. Allow your recovery to come to the forefront in your situation. It's time to come out of the desert and seek for the oasis. There are many individuals who have missed you. You make a big difference. I just saw the Emperor card, which is also an Aries card. And I'm seeing here the backside of the Strength card shows the devil depicted. And that's what we don't see when we see the traditional. What's back there? Oh, the Chariot. I like it. See, it looks so peaceful, but we can't see how her strength, your strength, has been very, very trying. And getting through all of the trials and tribulations has taken you staring the devil down in the face and shedding your skin. And with that Chariot and with this Eight of Wands, it's time to come out and communicate and take a trip and reconnect to yourself and to others. So no need to chase. Chasing is one of those things that when we're chased, it creates repulsion energy. All right, Aries, take care of yourself. Next, it looks like we have Aquarius. So I have not been being really quick with these, and I feel like we'll run out of time around the 30-minute mark. I'm getting Brick House. You just need a short one today, is that right? Demon Slayer, you're on the right track. Joy, all right. So taking care of anything, you've got what it takes. You're strengthening yourself. You're working on your body and your physique, it looks like, or your mental physique, your mental acuity. Golden light code activation. Make sure to get time out in nature. Radiate and express yourself to the best of your potential. Of course, with a grain of salt, all of my advice. Golden light code activation is through nature and breathing deeply and taking in the solar radiation energy. We're grounding deeply. Cleanse, clear, and hydrate the body regularly. You have some frenemies in your midst. I hope that hasn't been putting any bearing in your glow up here. But if you're taking care of yourself, then that can trigger people who haven't done the same. Long distance, leader, entrepreneur, trendsetter, boss, Aries. Okay, so you're in your Aryan energy. Let's finish you up here. Get you another one. The only difference between that frenemy, friend, and a foe is that you've decided where love can grow. So maybe it's time to reconnect with that. There's no one in your life who hasn't always loved you. They're all just learning how to show it. Big sillies. The universe. Things are not as they appear. Enjoy your extraordinary uniqueness. People probably love and envy and respect you and are somewhat jealous and upset with themselves for being envious and jealous, but unable to get that glow up that you're receiving. But don't let that hold you back. Let yourself be that mentor and that strong example of where they need to grow and go and follow in your footsteps, perhaps. So this brick house, you're setting the foundation for a huge change in your life, and you deserve it. Take care of yourself in that regard. One out of here, Knight of Acorns, action and drive with the little Pumbaa on here from Lion King. I always see that guy. He's on a mission. He's like, I don't care if my shit stinks. Talk about song lyrics. You get the aroma with a certain appeal. All right, so we're going to leave this one to be just those first 3 signs. So if your cross-watching signs didn't show up here, check back tomorrow. I'm going to separate these out over the rest of the week here. So take care of you